Every time I've signed on to do a movie, it's always because I've read something that's provoked me to a point of, like choking, like not frustration, just you sort of want you want to gain something from the experience of reading it. I don't know. It's like you want more than just consuming it. You want to, literally learn from it as if you've done it, and also you have a responsibility to those people. Like I have, like, each character that I play, I mean, they're so real to me that you're gonna let them down unless you do the right thing. And so 4 years of that is not normal. It's so, I mean, like, usually it's 5 weeks. Like that's a short movie. Like relative normal 3 months. You know what I mean? So to do that for 4 years, to have the weight lifted. I mean, I can't begin to explain to you.
Do you have?
Probably it's a tie between Mexican and Brazilian. They're just so, like, intense. Really good. And also, kind of people in Sweden were pretty crazy too. Which I was kind of surprised at that.
Yeah. That was an intimidating scene. I mean, it's been so sort of built up, not only in the fans' minds, but in the book. It is written in such a way that is unparalleled. It's like, you've never been broken up with like this, honey, trust me. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, so I have to take very real things that I can relate to, but make them bigger and in like a world of fantasy. It's like, gosh, basically it was like a death scene without dying. But the breakup scene, that happens after this scene that you're talking about. And so we didn't do it a bunch of different ways. There were different versions taken because it was much longer in the book.
Right.
There were different versions.
Because there's so many different ways.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the whole thing. He's trying to, like, control himself, like, going in and stuff. I mean, yeah. I think I just took way too long. I like dramatic pauses.
I mean, no, that's not true. I read a synopsis of the story because I was being sort of a self-involved actor at the time. I was doing another movie and I was really focused on this other film. It's called Adventureland. And I had 2 weeks of filming left and I just wanted to wait until I was finished to read another script. I wanted to get home and, be done. And so they kept saying, like, no, you have to read it, you have to read it. And so I read, at first they sent me a treatment. It was like basically just a little packet, like a summary of the whole movie. And I don't know who wrote it, but I felt like it was very badly written because it just simply didn't convey what the story was about. It seemed really trite and ideological. And in a sentence, it's hard to sum up the movie in a way that sounds genuine. I mean, it sounds like, a 17-year-old girl falls head over heels in love with the perfect vampire and would die for him. But he's perfect and she's not. That didn't sound appealing.
Good guy, and it's quite hard because you kind of, I mean, he has such a strict, like, for a 24, 25-year-old guy, he's like, or maybe 23, however old he is, he knows himself so well, and he has very strict ideas about what's right and wrong, and and it's so firm in his beliefs about things, and especially after having like a massive shake-up of your life, and he's still incredibly strong about it.
And he's played by a British actor, right? A young British actor?
Yeah, Robert Pattinson. I'm surprised everybody didn't scream at the mention of his name. That's what I'm used to.
Difficult thing, if you start out in drama, like especially like fantasy drama and also a series, I think one of the most difficult things to stretch away from.
He thinks that she's ridiculous for wanting to keep the baby, but he doesn't want her to die. For whatever reason, he just can't, can't let go.
Probably Wu-Tang.
Yeah?
I think when I was pretending to be a rapper, I just stole all their lyrics. My parents were like, how do you know this stuff? What's Compton? They're doing this thing. Like, what are you talking? You're from London.
I had no idea. Honestly, it was just a feeling. It was like, Rob he's a good actor. I mean, if you and if you don't see something in someone's eyes, then you just wait. I mean, instead of like sort of projecting. I mean, obviously sometimes it doesn't always work. You work with people that you don't really line up, and so when I found that with someone, I was like, oh my God, great. This shouldn't be wasted. I mean, because that's what the movie's about, you know. I mean, it's about that connection. So, yeah.
Oh. Not really. I don't know. Just sit there and be miserable.
Yeah, I mean, it was always, we were always trying to do the book, and the scene was so specific in the book. I mean, we didn't try it different ways. We just tried to get as close to that as we could, which was, for Bella, until he's literally gone, she doesn't believe that he'll ever go. So, like, the breakup scene is just confusion. The breakup scene's like, no, I couldn't possibly be wrong about this. And then it's, you know, subsequent death.
You look like a complete freak if you move your face too much. I learned that from the first one, and so I consistently toned it down to the point where I don't make any expressions whatsoever. But yeah, and it's funny because I got the makeup artist from Water for Elephants, Jean Black, who's amazing. I wanted her to be on Breaking Dawn afterwards, and so the makeup in Breaking Dawn is like much better and much lighter, and I can actually do other stuff in the final Twilight movie.
Once I read the script, it was so far away from that, and I subsequently begged for the audition just to be able to audition for the part. So it's not that I didn't want to do Twilight initially. It was just that that it wasn't that I didn't know about the books, and once I did, it was like something that I really wanted to do.
All of you need to know that.
Yeah, I'm not really that concerned with shedding an image. I think it just comes gradually. I mean, I don't really need to do any bold statements.
Yeah, no, I forgot. Oh, good, okay.
Well, pregnancy was rough. It was hard. Only because once you're in the thing, it's hard to get out of it, and it's not as heavy as I thought it was going to be. Basically, what I had to do most of the time was just wear a belly.
He's a genius. I think like Wu-Tang was the most original band in my life anyway. I think for our generation, like blah blah blah.
It's so relevant.
Yeah, the first contact that I had with the whole project, I had never heard of the book, and I was working on something else and not wanting to stray. I didn't have the mind space. I didn't have the capacity to think about something else at the time, and it was like forced on me. And so I was like, no, seriously, I don't have time. And so they gave me a synopsis of the thing, and it was terrible. It was like, in a sentence, it does sound very trite and shallow. You know, 17-year-old girl like falls head over heels, like wants to die for this perfect being. It's like very ideological and far-fetched, and I was just like, nope. But I read the script and seriously begged for the audition, because I told them already, and then I called back and I was like, no, please, can I audition for this? And it's definitely, I mean, at least for Rob, he plays a character who's supposed to be perfect, but he's very flawed. I mean, he's 108 years old. He's lived forever alone and sort of hating himself, and you know, it's like having a disease. It's like it's not something. It's not good. On the surface, it's something very different, but when you get down to it, it's like quite a hard, strained love story. So.
Yeah, the only thing you really need to do any genre is have a six-pack. That's it. That's the modern world.
Gosh, they haven't watched it yet.
I haven't. Serious.
No, yeah, not this one. Yeah, we'll see about that. I know.
I'd be funny about it.
I just sort of ignore it. I'm just like, yeah, it's fine. Just don't think about it.
Yeah.
It's not the most, you know. It's not the most explicit thing to be honest.
It's worse out there.
It's kind of incredibly sweet. I mean, so hopefully she can be mature about things, and hopefully my mom can be sensible about my sex scene.
I'm sure
but
she's
I don't know that that's necessarily a reasonable.
It's not a cheap.
Yeah, I mean, I can
appreciate the other two. I never understand this. It's just like, why do people put down guys so much? Like, guys can only appreciate it when people are hating each other and stuff. That's just how guys are. And girls appreciate all, you know, just everything else. Like, I mean, but guys can only watch a movie if they kill each other.
Yeah, it's very shallow.
They were so long. Like, I could literally break down thinking about it. Like, I think that actually helped that we shot all night. I was by myself in the woods, like, wandering around. It felt real. I don't know, I'm not a big prep. I think you can conceptualize everything, you know, like, to such a ridiculous degree, but when you walk on set and you have to live it, you can't actually be thinking about all of these, like, metaphorical ideas behind why the story makes sense to you in your life and whatever. It's about, like, breathing it. And the only reason I was able to do that on this as comfortably as I feel I did was because of Chris, because he made me feel really safe.
I hadn't read the books before, so it's not like I had an opinion. I mean, I had to just formulate my own idea of who the guy is anyway. I guess sometimes it's a little bit more pressure, but I mean, there's no point in acknowledging what other people really think about it. You know, you kind of, the only thing you can do is try and find some element of truth to yourself, I guess. And then if you start thinking about what all the fans want and think, and I mean, pretty much all of it initially was like just 100% negative about me. So I mean, I tried to ignore all of that. Just when
Good. Like I can't do a movie unless I read it, and afterwards I feel like, I mean, reading it isn't enough. You want to live through it, and at the same time, if you don't do it right, then you're going to kill her, basically, and nobody's going to experience her visually. I mean, it'll just, in the book, they have the books, but unless you do it right, then you know, she basically dies right on the page. And that responsibility and pressure was so great in this case, and as it has been for any project I've ever done, I have to have that feeling. And so most of the pressure during filming was sort of because of me. It was very self-inflicted, but it's weird. I feel like any girl really could have done this, any one of them. You know, like she's a very normal girl. It wasn't a big departure. It wasn't like a big character, like a different character to play. It was very personal, actually.
Yeah, I think you'd have to.
Yeah, it's been a little dizzying. It's a good way to put it. I'm also, like, entirely disconnected from it. I've already done, what really drives me crazy is when I'm working. It's like, I'm a nutcase when I'm working on something. Like, I can't think about anything else. I have, like, total tunnel vision, and thankfully I wasn't aware of it while that process was happening. It all happened afterwards, so it was like, well, thankfully that job is done, because I would have gone mad. So, yeah, I'm not very good at this. I can't, usually, it's easier, actually, when you leave the United States, because people ask you questions and then they want to hear your answers. But in the States, it's sort of like, so what is it like kissing a vampire? It's like, well, come on, man, I don't know. Never done it. I'm too serious. Like, I can't, I'm very, like, logical. I don't have, like, the mind that, like, jokes around. I just start, like, offending people when I start joking, and then I don't want to do that. So.
Same here.
Yeah.
For themselves, it's like, I understand even more if they were selling the stuff.
Right.
Like, it's like, but just, like, messing the whole thing up, and just, especially when I've been working on it for, like, 8 months, and it's like, the whole point is to reveal, to have, there's been, like, no paparazzi pictures, everyone's been so careful the whole time, like, everyone's, like, checking in their phones and things, and then these idiots, like hack into it. It's like, oh, congratulations, you just, like, did you feel really great? Is that how they got the
photos? They hacked in?
Yeah. And it's like, oh god, I hope they get punished severely.